and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my first scrapbook process video using the 4kidsat147 February kit, which I've put together to use this month. I decided I wanted to use the pink paisley geometric pattern paper. I've loved it ever since I bought it, so why not start with something that you love? I've decided to go through the embellishments first off, pulling out any colours or pieces that I think will work with the colour scheme. I was going through the idea of using the pink, the turquoise and also the black that's showing in my daughter's dress. So I've pulled off a few chipboard pieces that are in the hot pink. I've pulled off the number 18 out of the Heidi Swap puffy stickers and popped that onto a sheet of wax paper. I'm then going through all the embellishments, which I've opened up and popped into little glass bowls from the kitchen, so I can see what it is that I want to use, anything that sort of matches the colour scheme, symbols and phrases that will work. Just so I've got a selection on my desk, because when you first get a kit it's really quite daunting, the amount of things that are in there, and you're never going to be able to fit them all on one page no matter how much you try. So I like to go through, pull out a few different bits and start from there, and then as the layout takes shape and you decide you want something in a certain place, then you can always go through again and you're looking for something a little bit more specific. So I've pushed all those embellishments that I've pulled off to the side, so they're all around me on my desk. At first I thought I wanted to use a vertical design down the page, but partly because of the paper and also the direction that we are in the photo, the way the photo was taken, it led more to a left to right, top to bottom kind of design, which I noticed pretty much as soon as pulling down the first two pieces. So I do keep that design, even though I do mess about quite a bit more with what piece goes where. I was originally starting with just the colour scheme of the turquoise, the hot pink and the black, but I soon realised that it just needed a little bit of something else. So I pulled a strip off the Maggie Holmes Bloom paper to see if that would bring in the pop of colour, and then realised that to bring in the colour a little bit better it would be best to matte the photo. At first I thought the paper on the background did all the work, but it needed something else. So I'm just messing about with all the different 12 by 12 sheets, mainly pink paisley but also a little bit of Jen Hadfield, layering things up until I find the way I like it. I was originally looking for a hot pink piece of paper, whereas it was a little bit more coral, until I realised that the back of the teal stripe had some hot pink in. So I cut that a little bit wider than the 4 inches and then chopped it in half so that I could matte both corners. Not a full matte, but enough to give those two colours in and not waste too much paper. When I then popped the yellow piece of paper behind those two layers, it really looked good to me. I'm not sure whether there's a term for that, but it just made the photo pop that little bit more, which is enough for me to cut into the piece of paper and use that to matte the photos. So I wanted to bring a little bit more of the black in, so I thought inking the edges of the paper would work, but wanted to test it first. Firstly, I tested it with brown, which is never going to work. So once I got the right chalk ink and tested that, it was a nice subtle edge, but I wanted something a little bit crisper for this layout. So outlining it was, so I've gone around each side of each piece of paper twice, to bring that black in there, but also give it a little bit of a rough look around that layout. So I'm happy with the way those pieces look. I'm going to have a little bit more of a mess about with the embellishments, make sure that the photo matting has the hot pink showing, which is the whole reason I used that paper in the first place. And now I'm definitely happy with the matting of the photo. I'm going to stick that down. I do use a Hermafix removable adhesive, so if I do change my mind, I'm never committing too much. However, over time it definitely does stick down. I think I do need a new trimmer blade though. There is the odd little edge of the paper that's a little bit furry, so you do catch me cutting those off, because I can see them even if you can't. So I'm back to my embellishment clusters. A lot of things move about a lot of different places on this one. I have left it in at the moment just so you can see how I do normally work, though I do try and cut out some of it that's a little bit more tedious than the rest, and in future layouts hopefully I will get quicker, knowing that I am recording and things are being watched. I've also noticed I do say quite a bit. I do apologise if that annoys you. I am trying to get better with that, and time will tell how much that works. So I've pulled out the gold stickers from C'est La Vie. I was going to staple them onto the background sheet, but realised that wouldn't work quite at the moment until I'd used a couple. So they just lay there, and then I've pulled out the Dear Lizzie Snapshots foam phrase thickers to see if there's a word in there I can use, and found the word today, which works perfect with the 18 for her 18th birthday. So this is a photo of me and my daughter. We went out for a meal for her birthday before going home for cocktails. This was all with family, and it's very, very rare that you'll find me in a photo, but we did take a selfie on that day, with it being a special day. So it's about time this photo got into her album. So I'm having a look for a few more hot pink designs on the crepe paper chipboard sheet, though a few of those hearts are more red than pink, so while I like them, I don't think they work for this layout. I did really like the pink ampersand in the die cut pack, and you will find that coming back into on the layout quite a few times. However, it doesn't make it to the final design. So I'm going to have a look and see whether I need another little pop of yellow with having it behind the photo, whether I need to bring it in somewhere else or not. So quite a few things do move about. I tried to make sure that I had got the me and you phrase that's in the C'est La Vie on this layout somewhere. It doesn't end up in the one that's on there now, but it does end up on the layout in one form or other when I've finished a lot of messing about. So I found a die cut in my pot that's the yellow one up in the top corner that says Forever. That one does end up staying there, and then the top reads Forever Love. And then I'm having a look, trying to see if I need to back something else in yellow, and then I found a me and you sticker in the smaller, which was on the sticker sheet, but it got lost a little bit on the hot pink. So I've popped it on a piece of the background packaging from another pink paisley item and cut round it, so it gives me the white and I can still move the sticker about and see where it's going to go, which you'll find ends up back in my die cut pot. But that's the story of me scrapbooking. So the photo is definitely a yes, so that is getting stuck down and is staying there. I also like the 18 today, so I popped that down on the photo. I did ideally want to move it just a little bit, but I found that I ended up with a black mark on the photo where it had been. Maybe that's because I print at home, or maybe it's the thickers. So I decided it was there, it's going to stay there. So we come back a little bit later because I happened to get a phone call off my daughter and then again off my husband. So it paused the video recording. All I've done in between is I have gone round the die cut pieces in black pen the same way I did over the photo mat. I also found that yellow die cut at the bottom, Be Yourself. I'd actually pulled that out earlier when going through the die cuts and it got a little bit lost on my desk. So I was very happy when I found that. That brought the pop of yellow up to the top left and also to the bottom right. The diamond piece you see in the bottom right hand corner is also from the C'est La Vie ephemera pack, and that was a perfect place to pop a little cork heart. So with having one at the bottom, I'm now having yet another mess while I try and make one work up the top. I decided to swap it out for a smaller one and bring the little bit of hot pink up with a vellum heart. It's not the one that's there now, I do find a smaller one, but that does end up getting stuck, and those little cork hearts are actually quite sticky. So once a decision's made with those, unless you're very, very careful, it's not going to move. So I'm back to trying to fit me and you onto the page. I really wanted to have that phrase on there, as I say, with it not being very often that I have photos with my kids, mainly because I don't like having my photo taken, though the kids quite often are more than willing for mum to take photos of them. So while I'm deciding, I look at the layout and think, I've gone round quite a few things, I need to go round the whole page as well. So I've just done that while it's there and in my head, and then I'm going through all of the embellishments again, trying to work out what it is that I'm not quite happy with on the layout. You will see a little bit more messing, so the way I tend to scrap is if something really works and I'm happy, I will stick it, and I'm happy with the layout as it is, but I do know it needs a little bit more. So it takes me a little while to work out what that is, and it's the fact that the top left hand cluster and the bottom right one are not connected to the photo mat. So I realise that that's what's making me unsure. I want them to connect and feel as though it's one flowing piece from the top left to the bottom right. So I'll bring in the ampersand again. That will get used eventually, I'm determined. And then I mess about with a few of the circle die cuts, thinking maybe that's what it needs, is a different shape, because we've got quite a few different blocks. And as you can see, I bring in quite a few different elements here in either chipboard or otherwise to try and see what it is that I'm missing on the layout and what it is that I want. Back again through the die cut bowls, trying to look for a piece that's just a little bit different or will connect the two of them together. Having a look at all the bits on my desk just in case I've missed something again. So this is the point where I know the layout's nearly finished, but I'm not quite happy with a few pieces on it, trying to fill those little bits of gaps so that it does look as though it's all connected. I then found the Ignore the Critics die cut apart sheet piece, that was from the pink paisley sheet, and I really liked the pop of hot pink that it brought up there. However, with the gold ampersand that I had at the top, you couldn't read all the words, or I couldn't get it to lay over and just cut one of the words. So at that point I decided to take everything off that wasn't stuck and to start again. So to start with the pieces that I did like, and if it didn't look right, change it. So the Me and You die cut circle at the bottom I knew I liked, so that then stayed there from then on. The Ignore the Critics die cut came back, but again trying it with the circle wasn't working. If I moved the circle to the right, it was too much directly above the Me and You circle in the bottom. So at the bottom I then tried bringing in some hot pink there as just an extra little corner around the photo. I did like the Love You banner, but at first it was covering up the die cut underneath saying break the rules, so I tucked it underneath the thicker Today, and I liked that a lot better. So I decided to go round the Ignore the Critics. As I had done the other pieces, that was going to stay. So I've layered that up and placed it down. The Me and You finally got stuck, as did the Love You chipboard piece, which doesn't like Hermie when it's had the back taken off, so out came the glossy accents. So that's pretty much it. That finishes off my layout. So I will show you some close-ups now. I'll bring it up to the screen and then there'll be some photo close-ups at the end. Thank you very much for watching, and apologies if I say too much. I will get used to what to talk about when I'm talking to the screen as I record these videos. Speak to you again soon.